December 14, 1935, Talks with Sri Ramana Maharshi, talk number 110. An American lady asked Bhagavan what his experiences of Samadhi were. When suggested that she should relate her experiences and ask if they were right, she replied that Sri Bhagavan's experiences ought to be correct and should be known, whereas her own experiences were unimportant. She thus wanted to know if Sri Bhagavan felt his body hot or cold in Samadhi, if he spent the first 3.5 years of his stay at Tiruvannamalai in prayers and so on. Maharshi replied, Samadhi transcends mind and speech and cannot be described. For example, the state of deep slumber cannot be described. Samadhi state can still less be explained. Then the devotee asked, But I know that I am unconscious in deep sleep. Maharshi said, Consciousness and unconsciousness are only modes of the mind. Samadhi transcends the mind. Then the devotee replied, Still, you can say what it is like. Then Maharshi replied, You will know only when you are in Samadhi. Talk number 111, recorded December 16, 1935. A Telugu gentleman asked about Brahma Bhavana. Maharshi replied, Not to think I am Brahman or all is Brahman is itself Jivan Mukti. He asked about inspired action. Maharshi continued, Let activities go on. They do not affect the pure self. December 17, 1935, talk number 112. Mr. Paul Brunton, while reading Upadesha Manjari, came across the statement that the ego, the world, and the God are all unreal. He desired to use a different word for God, or at least a qualifying adjective. Example, the creative force or personal God. Sri Bhagavan explained that God means samashti, that is, all that is plus the being, in the same way as I means the individual plus the being, and the world means the variety plus being. The being is in all cases real. The all, that is the variety, and the individual in each case is unreal. So also is the union of the real and the unreal. The mixing up or the false identification is wrong. It amounts to saying sad asad vilakshana, that is, transcending the real and the unreal, sat and asat. Reality is that which transcends all concepts, including that of God. Inasmuch as the name of the God is used, it cannot be true. The Hebrew word Jehovah, which means I am, expresses God correctly. Absolute being is beyond expression. The word cannot be replaced, nor need it be replaced. The Englishman casually said that in prehistoric ages there was spirituality but not high intellect, whereas intellect has now developed. Sri Bhagavan pointed out that intellect raises the question, whose intellect? The answer is of the self. So intellect is a tool of the self. The self uses intellect for measuring variety. Intellect is not the self, nor apart from the self. The self alone is eternal. Intellect is only a phenomenon. People speak of the development of variety as being the development of intellect. Intellect was always there. Dhata yatha purvam akalpayat. Dhata yatha purvam akalpayat. The Creator created just as before. Consider your own state day by day. There is no intellect in dreamless deep sleep, but it is there now. There is no intellect in a child. It develops with age. How could there be manifestation of intellect without its seed in the sleep state and in the child? Why go to history to teach this fundamental fact? The level of truth of history is only the level of truth of the individual. Talk number 113. A Telugu gentleman asked about Karma Yoga. Sri Bhagavan said that the man should act as an actor on the stage. In all actions, there is the Sat as the underlying principle. Remember it and act. He asked about the purity of the mind, Chitta Suddhi. Sri Bhagavan said that Chitta Suddhi is to engage in one thought only to the exclusion of all other thoughts. It is otherwise called one-pointedness of the mind. The practice of meditation purifies the mind. End of talk 113.